Hi, everybody. Welcome to the As You Are podcast. My name is Leslie Vandergans, founder of Enso Coaching and Consulting, and I'm here with one of our amazing coaches, Libby Detling.
Yes.
And our special guest today is Nicole Boan.
Yay.
Hello, Nicole. Nicole is the founder of Skin by Nicole and also the podcast host of Skin and Boans. So look it up on all platforms, please. Follow her.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're super excited. And actually, it's really fun today because Libby brought Nicole to us. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about your history?
We have great history. Our history is I started going to Nicole so she could make my skin so beautiful and help me stay young and youthful for forever.
And it's working.
And it's working.
You're like
guys.
82.
I am.
and-
I'm really old. And it has become some of my favorite times. And it's one of my things that I like to do for myself to just have a little Zen moment. And it just so happens that Nicole is super fun to talk to and that she has an amazing business. And so it made sense. I was like, oh, here we are. And you have grown this amazing business and you're amazing and successful. And how do you do it?
Yeah. I mean, like, talk a little bit about your journey, and kind of starting your own company and getting into being an esthetician.
It's funny because I actually never thought I was going to be a business owner. That was like never the plan. And when I was in aesthetics, I was just kind of going through all the motions of, in the aesthetics industry, you kind of go all over the place to figure out like what you want to do, like where do you want to go in your aesthetics career. And so I started seeing like friends and friends of friends at home, just like in like a little treatment room that I made and like in like a guest bedroom. I went through a divorce and I was looking for any kind of like extra income that I could, to get back on my feet. So I started inviting friends to come over to get like little facials at home. And then it just started kind of growing from there. And then their friends told their friends, and then their friends told their friends. And before I knew it, I didn't have enough time to be full-time somewhere else and also keep seeing people. And I was like, well, I think, I kind of hit a point where I was working for somebody else and I kind of hit a cap where I was like, if I stay here, this is kind of it.
Yeah.
I can't really grow from here. And then whenever you have that creative side, you just kind of feel like if your creativity is not kind of going and you can't like do more things, you kind of feel like you're dying a little bit.
Right,
and so I kind of was there and I was like, well, maybe I'll just do this on my own. And I did.
Yeah.
I had $200 to my name and started renting with a couple of other girls. We shared this like little space together. And I even remember being like, I don't even know how I'm going to afford like an extra $200 plus like some product, but I'm just going to try it. And then it just kept growing from there. And I pretty much like tripled in business within like 2 years.
It's insane.
And just kept going.
Yeah, that's really
So-
amazing. Well,
Yeah.
and I think the thing that's so, interesting and what Libby and I were kind of talking about is like, especially small business owners, when you are thinking about going and venturing into that space, like it's like, yes, I might be a really, really great esthetician, but there are so many other things like finances
Yes.
and renting spaces and like,
Yes.
how do you market? And so like, what are, as you kind of started to grow the business, like how did you start to engage in all of those things and learn about all the other facets of business?
I remember whenever I did start to step out, I was like, okay, I don't have enough clients to kind of fill out my day. And I was like, I'm not going to freak out. So I would basically go to work and like get ready like I was going to work. And then I would just sit in my space and just start kind of envisioning ways to grow the business. So then I started engaging more on social media. I started doing like more foot traffic. I started networking. I started a referral system, which really was like the best thing that I did. I was like, hey, if you tell your friend to come, I will give you 50% off your next treatment. And then really, I just kind of didn't accept no for an answer. I was like, I've made this decision. I can't really turn back. This is my supplement like income now. So there's no going back except for forward. And that's just kind of the mentality they had, just to kind of just keep going and just keep growing. And it really worked. Just like
Yeah.
having like the mentality of like, I'm going to make this work and I'm going to make this successful. And I could see it. I could feel it. I knew it was supposed to happen. So I just kept going with that and believing that and making it happen.
Oh,
So
I love that.
manifesting.
Yes.
I know, no,
It really
real,
works.
right? Yeah. Well, and what are some of the things? I mean, number one, like I love all of the ways that you're hustling, and I want to like talk about all of those,
Yes.
and because I'm curious about them. But also, like how, as you were kind of building the business, like what are some of the big things that you learned along the way? A billion
yeah.
things.
Like so many.
So many things. One of the biggest things I think, and whenever I do a lot of business coaching for estheticians now, and especially in our industry, because there's just so much glitz and glamour of like, do I need these machines? Do I need to do this? Do I need to bring this on? And our industry is very expensive too. I really learned the most that it is okay to start small. And I kind of built everything around that of just having the basic things that you need and keeping it authentic and small and starting from a place of a bread and butter of like, this is my facial, this is my protocol, I'm going to stick with this, and then I'm going to kind of grow for this. And then once I make a certain amount of income, then I will bring on this machine. Or once I make this amount of money, I'm going to be able to bring this on, or I will open up an account with this person. I didn't even start with any retail because I couldn't afford it.
Right.
And so I picked a skincare company that would work with drop shipping, and it was free shipping if they spent a certain amount of money. And so that's kind of, I was very just raw and honest with a lot of my clients. Like, I'm doing drop ship so that I can afford, to have nicer things in treatment for you instead of all the, retail on the shelf. And so that's honestly how I built without drowning, basically,
Yeah.
and then just starting small and kind of staying close to that concept for so long. And I think that's probably why I am where I am right now.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Like this idea of just being really purposeful about growth, right? Because I think, in any industry, like tech industry, you talk
anywhere.
about whatever, like you can get super, I don't know, what's the word, like stars in the eyes about like what the opportunity is and what it could look like or what I think I need.
Yes.
Right. And then be a little overzealous and then realize, oh crap, I still have to pay the bills or I have to, it's really, really smart.
And I think especially in an industry where there are, it's an oversaturated industry. There are so many people. So finding that, and I think so much of your success has to do with that authenticity of, that's why people come back to you because you're authentic and you are very clear on what your brand is and what your business stands for.
Yeah, that's really important, especially in our industry because, there's something new and a new concept that comes out every like couple of months.
Yeah.
And you really have to like sit down and say, is this missing in what I'm already offering for my clients? Does this serve my clients in something, that's they're not getting right now? Or does this just serve like, because everybody else has it?
Right.
Is this like a good financial decision? Is this going to make my overhead even more? Like, you really have to kind of hone back to what your brand is in every decision that you make so that you're not in over your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're not getting away from your brand.
Oh, totally. Well, and how would you define, when you're talking about like what your brand is and being authentic to you, like what does that look like? Like how would you define that?
I kind of like to really sit down and think about like what I like to bring to the table to my clients. Like, I feel like I'm very personable and I've created a space that's very personable to my clients to where they feel like they can reach out to me.
She knows
anytime.
More about me.
Yes. Yes. Where they can like message me and say, hey, I want to have a conversation about, my skin, and I can kind of be able to be in a place where I still know every person and I know what they're on, what they're using, what their journey is. And I think that's been more important for me as what I wanted to create as a brand because in the spa industry, you know, the old school spa industry, somebody checks in and checks out and they don't even get to talk to their therapist or their esthetician, you know, until the next time they come because it's very corporate. It's very much that spa owns those clients and really and truly, it's really a skinship. It's really a relationship that you have.
I love it.
I mean, they're trusting you financially. They're trusting you with their face, and especially through a journey with people who have a lot of acne and cystic acne and things that you have to talk them off a ledge a lot. And so I think I wanted something that was more authentically personal, that gave somebody like more of like a safe space to come to. And so that's kind of what my brand was built off of. And that's kind of how I identify of what my brand is, of just creating more of like a safe space for somebody to come to and be vulnerable. You know, nobody wants to talk about flaws and, you know, the things that they're embarrassed about that are happening. And it just should be a place that you can share everything. I mean, all my clients call it therapy session because we go into detail of everything because in skin health now, it's not just about just your skin. I mean, it's about things that are going on in your life and in your body, and creating that environment for people and that safe space for people was something that was very important to me with how I built my brand, basically.
Right. I mean, and how intimate, like you're literally in
literally
I'm literally
in your face. Yeah, like
exactly.
Can't get closer.
Yes.
I mean, you can, but you know.
Yes.
Well, and you had, or Libby had just said the industry's oversaturated. And so how do you stand out? Well, you're trying to build this business.
I really try to set my part with being very educated, and not just what's trending, but more educated in what's happening in the skin, where the industry is shifting in the skin, what we're focusing more on in the skin. So I really try to stay on top of like what's new as far as how we're treating skin, what's new as far as how we're approaching different areas of the skin, you know, like acne and cystic acne. And cystic acne has, for some reason, become my specialty because I've had a lot of people come to me for that. And it was something that I really wanted to spend a lot of time on, and research and do a lot of education and training because I felt like there were so many people that were dealing with that. And I thought it was very important. So that's kind of how I set myself apart with a lot of the other estheticians, is like really kind of focus on a lot of hormonal acne that goes on and a lot of things that people deal with their skin that happens because of hormones and changes that are happening in their body.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Well,
rough out there.
I know. No kidding. Well, and speaking of, you know, standing out, you know, you were just mentioning like really getting involved from a social media standpoint. And I think you do that. You stay pretty active on the social media side. Can you talk a little bit about what that process was?
Yeah. Well, it actually happened during COVID. Because we all shut down.
Right.
And I was just kind of in that state of refusal to be able to be with my clients, honestly. Like, I mean, we love having our time together and just being able to have that information to people who felt so secluded from the world. And then mass acne became such a huge thing because of all the friction acne that was happening. And so just putting education out there for people who are at home and they were wanting to take care of themselves a little bit more. And so there was just an opportunity to start spreading information about how to take care of yourself in the right way. And I was bored.
Every good idea starts with just boredom.
And I was like, how can I get skincare to you still? And so I started putting more education out, and I started putting at-home treatments out. And my business, I actually started my business on my own in 2019, right before COVID.
Oh my gosh.
Great time.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks after, my dad suddenly passed away. And then COVID happened. So it was definitely one of those, like, I could have walked away at any point.
Right.
But then right when COVID happened, I was like, no, this, like, we're we're not saying no. We're not
Right.
going to let this define us. And so I just literally poured everything into social media, and that's whenever it just organically grew so much, and it was a good way to connect with people.
Yeah.
And that is really when my social media started kicking off, and then I've just been very consistent with it.
Yeah.
Which is one of the main things that just kind of keeps it going.
That's amazing.
Initially that's how I found you. I found you on social media.
So
and
many people did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
Oh.
but it was the educational stuff, and the content was good. It wasn't just like
use this cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. Like, it was good stuff. And I was like, I want to look like those glowy people.
Yeah.
I want that.
Right. Well, and it seems like I think something that I'm hearing from you in a theme, I guess, is like there's a lot of like contribution to your people, like making it really personable for your clients, like being at contribution with how you're doing how you're using social media, but then also like even when you're thinking about it from a business standpoint, like how do I think with contribution on how this thing grows, or how how purposeful I can be with what I'm trying to or attempting to align myself to from
That's
a
very true.
business standpoint.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
was that a purposeful thing, or is that something that was
a little bit? Because if you don't have like a reason behind what you're doing, it kind of dies a little bit, and if you don't have
it's obvious, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If I feel like if you don't know where your brand is at all, it's all over the place. And so people are drawn towards people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's always been very important to me. I never want to put something out there that is nothing like what I want or who I am, because people can recognize that. And I feel like people have just naturally been drawn to it. So it works.
It's just so interesting because I hear there's just so much about, as you were talking about all of this, like, how smart you are as a business person, like how purposeful you are being around, the future of skin and what that looks like, and how purposeful you're being about your business. And it's just amazing to hear like this level of like thought that goes into so many different levels of the business. It's just really impressive.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Or die.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think so. Talk to me about, and I know this because we've had this conversation, but I know as your business has expanded, you have brought people on before to kind of, be under your brand, but, just to kind of take on more clients. But I know that sometimes it maybe hasn't gone so awesome. And I know that this is something like as leaders, as business owners, that, one of the difficult parts of business is that hiring and, having the right people. So talk to me a little bit about your hiring fails.
Well, when I first wanted to hire, it was because I was moving away, and I knew that I am a workhorse and I will like be in treatment and like all the time. And so I really got to the point where I knew I kind of wanted to step away and just be there in treatment for a certain amount of time, and then be able to separate myself to be able to focus on different areas of the business. So when I originally hired my first person, it was more because I knew it was more out of fear, honestly, because I was like, I'm stepping away and I might need some help, for people, because I'm not going to be there. And like, what if people don't want to just come see me like during monthly? I want to have those options. And it's just such a learning curve when it comes to hiring, honestly, and deciding to bring employees on, to not bring employees on. And the first one, I will admit that one was definitely out of fear. And I also wanted to help out a friend who I thought would benefit for kind of working on their own. And there wasn't really a plan, and there wasn't really a purpose in that one. It was just like, let's figure it out as we go. Let's keep it casual, And I very quickly learned that I don't love managing.
Yes. Yeah.
And you have to have a lot of prep, and you have to have a lot of conversations up front and expectations. And I think hiring a friend, I thought it could be obvious, of things. And that one was hard for me because it did not work out very well. And then later on, I, more purposely wanted to like expand and bring someone on. And And again, it's just learning how to manage. I think, I had a lot of expectations because I'm such a perfectionist and I'm such a workaholic. And I really had to let go of not everybody is like that.
Easy.
And not everybody's going to treat your business like you do.
Right.
And so, I hired a younger one that did not want to work a lot. That one was fun. And then I hired one that just managing skills, I had to learn that, I can't be so direct all the time. And it's been a process. But now
I was going to say now.
Now I went, I took some time and was like, okay, I never want to hire again. But then I really got into a place of mentorship and wanting to expand and grow and help estheticians expand in their business. And I know how hard it is to work for other people. And I know that you kind of feel capped and you feel like your creativity is capped. And so I kind of came to a place after doing a lot of business coaching with other estheticians and kind of seeing where they were unhappy and where they wanted to grow. I think it more came out of a mentorship this time. And that was really, I was very purposeful about hiring and what I was looking for. I had to let a lot of expectations go and really kind of put out there what I was looking for, but also had to be more of like a mentorship of like teaching and learning and letting a lot of things go.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's so much better.
Yeah.
Which is great because I'm currently looking at a space to open in Charlotte and I want to hire on and expand. So it's been a really good learning curve for me because it actually is like a lot easier when you just let things go and not try to control everything.
What? Yeah. It's a good lesson.
Yeah.
Well, when you're talking about like this kind of growth through, hiring and we've all made mistakes, trust me, we could talk for hours.
Hiring mistakes.
Hiring all day.
Yeah.
But when you're thinking about the learning from it, what are some things that you've really taken away and been like, okay, every time I go and hire, I need to do these like 3 things or 2 things or 1 thing.
Communication is 100%. And it needs to be like out there all the time of like expectations and roles, just from the get-go of like, this is what I'm expecting and this is what I'm looking for. And then I need to know what your expectations for the business are. And I don't ever think that I really asked those questions of like, what are your expectations from this job? It was before like, this is what I want. This is what I need. And it was more learning, I want to make them happy and I want them to last longer. So you have to learn what are some ways that I can make you happy and keep you around. It's not just about me.
Yeah.
I think that was really important for me. And then just being a listener and just being an open book of, for me, I tend to kind of be in my own head. And it's just like, if I don't know something is not, if I don't know something's not working, then I don't know something's not working. So please, be able to come to me and just having that open communication to where they feel that they can come to you at any time. And if they need the help, I think just having that like open space for them to feel safe to ask for help and just letting it known, like, please ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. Let me know where I can help you. That's really and truly helped with me a lot in the learning of hiring process.
So effective communication and deep trust.
Yes.
Is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Interesting. Trust is the foundation. If that doesn't exist,
everything.
it is. Yeah. Everything out the door.
Yeah.
So
true. My hand motion that should,
out the door. That's the way of the door. There she goes.
There it is.
Very true.
Okay. So you have 2 locations. One is in Austin and one is in North Carolina. I just said
currently in the process of opening in North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And then what kind of brought you, or why the dual locations? What is that story?
I don't know, actually. We originally moved to Tulsa first, and we scoped it out because it was a growing city. And I just like the idea of kind of traveling and being in different areas and kind of spreading the education and the knowledge to other people. I like the idea of not being tied to one place because it does make me feel tied down and like I'm never growing and not evolving. And so it was just kind of a sporadic moment, honestly.
And I'm like, you can go wherever you want as long as you come back here.
All of my clients would murder me if I did. But I love it. I love coming and like being able to dive into my work like head on, because I am very much a workhorse and I will do that to myself. But I like having that separation of like, I come here and I put everything into my business for like 7 to 8 days, and then I can go home and I can regroup and I can work on other areas of the business that need focus on. And honestly, that was one of the best things that I did for my business, because we don't ever separate ourselves, all the time to work on different sides of the business. And I do a lot of like online trainings and a lot of online education and coaching, and I wanted to be able to separate the two of them and put different energies and separate those business completely. So that's kind of where it came from, to like have different locations and different things.
I love that.
I love it too. I'm like,
I know. Can you talk a little bit about like the education and the training side, like what that's look like?
I teach like other estheticians who are brand new, who want to go out on their own. I will teach them and kind of coach them on how to start their business, or just if education is something that estheticians need. Advanced training, I customize, different things, like if they want to specialize in, acne or something specific, there's a lot of gray areas in the aesthetics industry. They kind of graduate school and they're like, I don't know what to do now. And so you can either do the long route, which, me and some of the older estheticians, had to go work in so many places and spend, 10 years trying to figure out our career by doing hands-on. But now there's so much online training. There's so many like shortcuts that you can take that we are now telling them about. So that's kind of where that started. And then I've been invited with certain skincare industries to teach about marketing and social media, and that just kind of happened. And so kind of do a little bit of all, depending. I'm doing a webinar for the Pocket Suite company that I work with for my booking next week, because I'm like one of their top online sales professionals.
Yeah.
And they were like,
that's amazing.
Can you teach this
How
webinar?
do you do it?
Yeah, how to do it. And I was like, sure. Like, people just want to know how to be successful. And I think that I would have loved to know these things.
Yes.
Right.
So it's like, of course, there's no gatekeeping.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's enough.
Share all the knowledge.
There's enough faces to go around.
There are so many faces.
Yes.
There are so many. Everybody needs
everyone.
an esthetician.
They do.
I would have loved to have somebody teaching me some of these things. So I've always loved teaching, because when I was an esthetician on the floor, in other places, I was like a lead estheticians that would teach some of the newer ones. And so I've always really enjoyed it. And so then I just kind of just kept going with it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. So tell us about Skin and Bones, the podcast.
Yes.
My podcast, it was formerly known as Your Esty Bestie Nicole.
Oh, that's cute
I
too.
know. And then some other esthetician was super smart and trademarked Your Esty Bestie. So we can't use it anymore.
Dang it.
Gotcha.
I know. Wish I had thought of that. So I was like, okay, I need another name. And Skin and Bones, it just
I like it.
kind of
good.
it felt good. So I started out just teaching about like skincare in general, and would go on and I didn't even know who I was talking to. I would just like go on and be like, this is how you treat your skin. This is how you do this. And then I started like talking about aesthetics, and it just kept going and growing. And then I just kept getting more estheticians that were like, oh my gosh, I love your podcast. Can you talk about this? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So, I mean, the podcast does great. Like I don't, have like a structured amount that I'm doing every month. I mean, I'm very like real with them as well, where I'm like, I'll sprinkle on maybe like 1 or 2 a month when I can.
When the people want it. When
Exactly.
They demand it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So, and it's fun because I used to be a singer a long time ago. And so I actually like put in some old tracks of mine on there too.
God.
And so it's just fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You're like,
It's like a
this
creative
intro
outlet.
music.
Yes. I'm like, it's me.
You like it? Yeah.
Surprise. I love that. So do you, is it mostly just you talking about skincare? Do you have guests? Like, how do you
Sometimes
structure it?
I kind of just like, if I get a thought about something, I'm like, oh, that's a really good thought. Or if even a client asks me a question, I'm like, oh, okay, this is probably something that people don't know about. Or even another esthetician, if they ask me a question, I'm like, that's a great conversation to have.
Yeah.
And so I just hop on there and talk about things that just kind of get asked to me. And I'm like, that's a really good topic. People don't know about that. I've brought on one of my best friends last year because she's also a business owner. And we just kind of had like a fun conversation about what it's like to run a business and a crazy life. And then I had a guest speaker a couple months back about gut health. And so it's just kind of what comes like to my mind or what pops up or a subject that like maybe people are confused about or just maybe needs to be talked about. I just kind of am like, okay, we're going to talk about this today. And sometimes it's seasonally. Like right now I have a few episodes about the best skincare treatments to do on clients during the summertime, how to treat a sunburn. A lot of estheticians had no idea you could actually treat a sunburn.
Wow.
So it's just really putting knowledge out there that mostly estheticians kind of follow it more than anything else. And they just are learning in their new career, or even if they just need a little bit of inspiration. I do a lot of like gratitude stuff and like manifestation and try to give tips on like how to run a business, and also that like you're doing great, you're not alone, stop comparing yourself, all the things that we deal with.
Yeah.
So it's just like a place where people just feel like, oh, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all need those places.
Yeah, exactly.
We all need that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we have you. So, like, what are the top 3 skin things that we need to know about?
Oh gosh.
Tell
Well,
Top 3.
SPF.
Oh my God.
Yes.
SPF will be your best friend. It's the one thing that will probably help you age a little bit better. But really, the skincare industry has changed so much that the best thing that you can do is find somebody to help you with a custom skincare regimen that works for your skin, because it's not a one size fit all. There should never be everybody can use these 5 products kind of situation. I mean, it's all about skin health now. And we really try to bring the skin to a healthier state, because when the skin is in a healthier state, it actually corrects itself more and it doesn't have as many imperfections that happen on the skin. And so I think some people think that you go see an esthetician and you just get like a nice little treatment and you walk out and you're glowing and you're good. And things have changed. And so it's really just, we help people just bring the skin to a healthier homeostasis so that your skin knows how to age well without having a lot of issues on the skin. So that's going to really be my biggest advice, is that everybody really should have some sort of guidance on what to use on their skin, because this industry is super saturated with a lot of marketing words out there that really don't mean anything.
I was gonna say Nicole loves when like influencers tell you how to fix your face.
Ooh,
and
give us some of those tips. What should we not do?
We should not follow any TikTok advice. Yeah.
I always I sent her a funny one.
Oh, I
and I'm
love
like,
it.
ooh, look, this person said to rub like snail goo under your.
And then I'm like, but you're not a snail. So
why are we doing this?
How will your skin accept snail serum?
Yeah.
How does your
amazing.
So
okay,
good.
so snail serum, I'm going to throw that out.
Yeah,
we're going to throw it out. We're
Like,
going to throw
note
it
to
out.
self.
Yeah. I mean, we're not snails. We are humans. So,
like, what's a trend? What do you see as a TikTok trend, or like a reel that is going around skincare that you're like, oh man, I just wish.
Slugging has been one that's around, and it's funny because like slugging, I mean, we've been doing that for years, which is really like, maybe we put somebody on like a skin barrier cream and they're layering things on top and it's thicker, but like TikTok is like, oh, slugging is like a new thing and you're rubbing Vaseline and all. And it's like, no, like,
so gross.
You should never rub anything on your face that you don't know what it's going to do. And honestly, like, if your skin barrier is wrecked, anything that you put on your skin is probably going to not go well on the skin. there's a lot of weird TikTok stuff out there. My niece showed me one the other day where a girl used whipped cream on her face as a primer.
Oh.
What?
The avocado people too.
Yeah.
They do the avocado thing. Yeah.
I will never forget. When I worked for one of the dermatologists that I used to work for, one girl came in and she was like, I mean, her skin, she had a lot of inflammation, a lot of redness, a lot of rosacea. And me and the doctor were in there talking to her, and she was like, what have you been doing at home, you know? And she said, oh, I've been making this mask at home, and it's got lemon, and it's got I think there was something else that was super acidic in there, and like a vinegar. And she was like, so you're putting about a bunch of like acidic stuff on your face, and you're walking around, but you've got rosacea. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm like, because they don't know any better.
They don't.
Yeah,
They don't
they
know
see.
any
They don't
better.
have anybody
They see
who's-
people, and it's like, not every skin is the same. Everybody's DNA makeup is so different, and not everybody will react to the same things in the same way. So it's just better to see somebody who knows
Yeah.
what you're doing, you know.
It's
I mean,
true.
and let's not put whipped cream on our face for
Yeah,
a primer.
that's
like
good.
That's
you know,
Very smart
Yeah.
advice.
That's
How?
insane.
Okay, so what should if somebody is looking to get into a relationship with an esthetician,
Mhm.
because you just mentioned
yeah.
it's oversaturated and your schedule will only have so many people, what should they look for when they're talking to somebody?
That's a really good question. I think that when people are looking around, you should align with some of the things that you're interested in. If you are somebody that has acne, you definitely want to kind of try to find somebody that has a specialty or has a good rep for doing that. I mean, that's kind of what the best thing about Instagram is you can go on their page, you can see who they are, you can see some of their before and afters.
Mhm.
And honestly, like, I love that estheticians can brand themselves on
Mhm.
social media, which is so important, because when you're kind of showing who you are, those people can kind of start resonating with you.
Mhm, mhm.
If it's somebody that you're like, I don't think I can open up to her, you know, she seems scary.
Yeah, that doesn't look like
Or-
a fun person to
Yes,
talk to.
exactly. Like, I feel like it should be somebody you feel like you can trust and relate to. But really and truly just going in for a consultation and having a conversation. And if you felt like you were being heard and they were listening to some of the issues that you have, and they're not throwing just a whole bunch of money at your face, and it seems like they care,
Mhm.
I would go that route, really and truly. But really just sometimes just having a conversation and making sure that you're the right fit is really the best way to kind of know if they're going to be the right person for you. And it's okay if you bounce around to a couple people until you find your
Yeah.
person. I
Yeah,
mean,
like a therapist.
Yeah.
absolutely. Like, you're not going to click with everybody. I don't
Right.
click with everybody.
Right.
And I'm okay with that. You know, I'm like, listen, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I like
100%.
I like to talk in my treatments. I love to get to know people. If you're looking to just relax and zen out, we're probably not going to be
Yeah.
best friends.
Yeah.
True.
We laugh, we talk.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
so good.
it's a whole, I want to know your life. Like, I want to know who you are, and I'm a very personable esthetician. But some people may not want that. Some people may have a very chaotic life, and they just need an entire hour to just relax and not talk, maybe have some healing crystals. You know, there's a lot of estheticians that do so many different things. I think it really resonates with what you're looking for and who you are.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Mhm.
feedback. Okay, so what is next for both Skin by Nicole and Skin and Bones?
So Skin and Bones is going to definitely have a lot more education training coming up, which is really exciting. And especially with this webinar that I'm doing, there's like 150 people that are registered for it. And so
Wow.
I'm trying to put together like a lot more social media courses and marketing courses that are geared a lot towards esthetician and sales, because seeing just that they are interested in like how
Totally.
to profit themselves online. I think there's a
Yeah.
gap for that. Like, people just don't know how to. So definitely putting some of that material out, and just really my two girls that I brought on, we have a lot of new education that we're doing coming up, and some new trainings, and taking a little bit of a shift with some of my skincare treatments, because again, the industry is changing a little bit. So we're going to be kind of shifting some of our treatments, and then just I'm looking at spaces and trying to decide what that brand is going to be. It's going to be a completely different business in Charlotte. I have an LLC for the Skin Lounge. And so I want it to be very different.
Wow.
So just kind of pondering and thinking about that business and how it's going to be a little bit different, but still with the same concepts that I have too. So
oh my goodness.
lots of projects.
That's so exciting. So what, for people that are in North Carolina,
or Austin.
or in
but, like,
Austin,
don't take my spot.
Right. Don't take
No
my
new
spot.
friends.
But in North Carolina specifically with this, this potential business expanding, what is the timeline? Like, when are you thinking about trying to get the Skin Lounge out?
It is probably before the new year.
Ooh.
Definitely. I mean, my mom's coming next week to visit with me, and I have a couple of spaces that I'm kind of like honing in on a little bit. But it's definitely like the city is not saturated yet.
Mhm.
And the specific things that I do, there's not a lot of people doing them. And so I know on a business point, like I've got to get my foot in now
Yeah.
because it's growing, it's expanding, and
Yeah.
there's a huge gap for it.
Yeah.
And so I need to like get my foot in. So
Awesome.
it's just, overcoming like the fears of like, how am I going to start another business?
Easy.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
But,
really exciting.
yeah, that's kind of like the focus for the rest of the year. And the holiday rush, of course.
Yeah.
But the holiday times are crazy. And then I'm also focusing on expand and trying to grow my Two Girls business as well too. So that's kind of what the focus is for all the things.
That's awesome. Okay, so how do people find out about you? Where do they follow you?
My biggest platform is Instagram. That's kind of where I put all my energy to, and I'm super communicative on it. And I'm at all the THA Pretty Faces, and that's really one of the best ways that you can kind of connect. I usually have a lot of my courses on there. There's a link to my podcast on there, which is Skin and Boans, and I'm on Spotify and iTunes, and I think there's another platform we're on too, but it's through the Spotify app. But you can find it on iTunes and on Spotify. But mostly, I pretty much communicate everything and put all my information and everything that's out there up to date on Instagram because it's like the easiest platform
That's good.
to do everything on.
Agree.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I can't add another
Hard
platform.
agree.
Like, we're just
Too
gonna
much.
stick
Yeah,
with
one
one.
at a time. One at a time. Okay, awesome. Well, this was so great.
Yes, thanks for having me. This is so
I
fun.
mean, just learning about you and about how you think about business and the passion that you have for, skin in general is just really, really, really cool to hear. And so thank you for sharing it with us. And
of course, thanks for having me.
I know. And then we'll have to have you back after like things get moving with the Skin Lounge. So we
Yeah.
can talk
I'd
more
love
about
to.
what that was like.
Yeah, and
all
that hiring process.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my favorite when I get texts from Nicole being like, I have these two people. What are we thinking? I'm like,
That's right. That's right.
I got you.
It's a community. We're all
It
just
is.
like supporting
Exactly.
each other,
yeah,
right?
everyone in their,
Yeah.
places of, I'm like, Nicole, my skin. Like,
Yes.
here, what do I
Exactly.
Yeah.
thrive?
And I love being vulnerable with you
Yeah.
guys too, of like
Yeah.
what's going on. And I'm like, I think I hired the right people. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool to just have the, in the relationships that you make, you have people that are like, expertises in certain areas and being able to tap into that
Oh,
community
yeah.
is so amazing.
I mean, one of my clients gave me advice for like when I was doing all the interviews because she's in
Yeah.
HR. And I
Yeah.
was like, yes.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like-
I'm just here to support each other,
I
right?
know,
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for joining us. And please follow us on all platforms as always. And we will see you soon.